Shalom, shalom, y'all. Officer Jadiel from San Diego. To my right, I got,
Officer Alicia, shalom.
and then to my left,
Officer Jair.
all praises. All right, we'll jump into it. I got a lot of stuff. I don't think I get through all of it. We'll see what happens. But the title of the class is "We Ourselves and Us." We ourselves and us. Let's go to 2 Peter 3, verse 1.
The book of 2 Peter, chapter 3 and verse 1. This second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you, and both which I stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance, that ye may be mindful of the words which were spoken before by the holy prophets, and of the commandment of us, the apostles of the Lord and Savior.
So we always read this, right? I always read this when I start classes to remind us why we're here, right? So the purpose of us reading the Bible and looking at these things is to stir up our minds, to get us to focus back on the things that the apostle said, that the prophet said, and everything that was written in the commandments. So as we go through the class, you don't want to just take it and let it fall on deaf ears. You really want to stir up your mind. Think about these things, meditate on, hey, why is this saying this? Why is that saying that? So that you can take it in and change. Go ahead.
Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts.
So we know in the last days that there's scoffers walking after their own lusts, right? You look on the TV, you look at a bunch of people who have even left the truth, right? They walk after their own lust. But us, go ahead.
And saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation.
But us, we got to be the opposite of this, right? That's the purpose of us reading the Bible and staying focused, because there's people that are going to say, hey, everything is just going the same way it's always been. This is the cycle, right? This is how things happen in the world. There's nothing different taking place. So why are we stressing? All you got to do is live your life and you're going to die and everything will be okay. So it's telling you there are going to be people like that. There's people that left the truth that are like that. There's going to be celebrities. There's going to be a whole bunch of people influencing you to not believe in this Bible. So the way that you keep yourself focused is to read this Bible and stay focused on it day in and day out. So the topic is we ourselves and us. Why is that the topic, right? The biggest thing is, that I've been thinking about for a while, probably over like the last week or so, is just a lot of us, we have selfish tendencies, right? We have selfish tendencies. We grow up, maybe some of us are only children, I know Jair wasn't an only child. You know what I'm saying? Huh? He got plenty. Actually, you know what? You was the youngest, right? You was like an only child. You was the only child, right? You got spoiled? Did you? Yeah, see? His head went to the left and to the right. You got spoiled? You say yeah? Yeah, he got all the hand-me-downs.
In the beginning, I was spoiled, and
Yeah.
then I grew up, and then it wasn't the same.
But you already had all the hand-me-downs at that point.
I have a lot of hand-me-downs.
Okay, all right. So he got everything he ever wanted. Huh? What about you? What was your life like?
I was the middle child.
You was the middle child? Oh, man.
Yeah, nobody cared.
Yeah, nobody cared about you. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo.
And say, hey, the first one, you know what I'm saying, got taken care of, then the last one,
Yeah.
they skipped over.
Yeah, middle child is,
Eh.
you know what I'm saying? We love you, kinda. But yeah, my point just is that many of us have selfish tendencies. So we come in here and the only thing we concerned about is us, right? I got to keep the law. I got to do everything the Bible says. But we don't think about the brother or the sister next to us. So typically our mindset is me, myself, and I, right? Me, myself, and I. That's typically what we focus on. We look at life as, it's a singular thing. Everything that happens around me is centered around me versus it being centered around the group. So we're going to dig into that a little bit. Let's go to 2 Timothy 3 and 1. Let's start there.
2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy.
So when you read, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, that's talking about being selfish. That means your only focus is you, right? You look at things from a individualistic perspective, right? I'm trying to use a simple word, like instead of looking at the macro, you look at the micro. You just look at yourself, and you don't know what that went over your head. Okay, all right, look. Micro's the smaller version, macro's the bigger version. That's all it is. All right. trying to find a simple word, but basically you look at yourself and you don't care about nothing else.
You deep.
Nah, I ain't deep. You know what I'm saying? This is just words. It's words. You know what I'm saying? So the point is that you don't focus on everybody else around you. You kind of focus just on yourself. Read that again.
For
Get your voice together. It's early in the morning. I don't know if you need to drink water. You know what I'm saying? You Judah, man. That voice cracking ain't going to work. Read it again.
Chapter 3 and verse 1. This know also.
Start at 2.
Verse 2. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors.
So being a traitor shows that you are selfish, right? If your mindset is, hey, let me throw this other brother under the bus, or sacrifice another brother for what I'm trying to get, that shows something about yourself. It shows you're selfish. Go ahead.
Heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God.
If you love pleasures more than God, you're selfish, because you're not thinking about how it impacts everybody else around you. Go ahead.
Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. For of this sort are they which creep into houses, and lead captive silly women, laden with sins, led away with divers lusts, ever learning, and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth.
So these brothers will forever be learning, but never able to come into the full knowledge of the truth. So some of us are in here, and we're never going to get to the point we need to get to because we got selfishness in us. Because we don't look at the whole. The only thing we focus on is ourselves. We're like, hey, man, as long as I do what I need to do, we good to go. So as I was writing this, I was really thinking about that, because that's something I see, right? More and more. People have teams, and they complain about who's not doing what on the team, right? People have, different things that they need to show up to. Rather than help each other, we look at it like, well, if that brother's failing, that's not my fault. That got nothing to do with me. Give me Titus 3 and 3. But that just shows we got selfishness in us, and we need to get it out.
The book of Titus, chapter 3 and verse 3. For we ourselves also were sometimes foolish, disobedient, deceived, serving divers lusts and pleasures, living in malice and envy, hateful, and hating one another.
So many of us were hateful, and we hated one another before we came in here. So we got to really look at, what does that mean? What does that mean when we say hating each other, right? It means you got a brother next to you, a sister next to you. You don't fix them. You don't care about what they got going on. You're like, hey, man, I come to the Sabbath. As soon as the Sabbath's over, I'm out of here. Because I don't really care about the people that's in here. I'm just trying to check a box. I came to the Sabbath. I showed up. I'm not going to check on this brother or this sister and see if their spirit is right or their spirit is together or what they're battling with. Who cares? Because I did what I needed to do. And it says something about you. You're that person that's a lover of yourself, right? Because the purpose of us being around each other is to think about everyone else, right? Give me Proverbs 12 and 15. But we don't. We don't. And we got to really start to get to that point, because the times we living in, we're going to need we, ourselves, and us. Me, myself, and I is not going to get you to the kingdom. Read that, Proverbs 12 and 15.
Proverbs chapter 12, verse 15. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he that hearkeneth unto counsel is wise.
So many of us don't want to listen to anybody else in terms of counsel. We don't want advice. And we think what we're doing is right. We think, hey, man, as long as I take care of me, I'm good. Brother said to me once, the truth is selflessness. There's a selfish part to it, right? Where you have to show up. You got to do certain things for yourself. You can't be swayed by the actions of another brother around you. But you got to correct your brothers, right? You got to warn them if they're going off. You got to have love for them. You got to be a servant. So there's selfishness in it, but there's selflessness. So it's a balance. It's not just, hey, let me be selfish all the time and only care about me, and regardless of the situation, I could care less what y'all doing. Nah, if the intent is towards God and you have to be selfish in that moment in order to make sure you're doing what God needs you to do, then you do that. But to just never to go through this walk and never think about the brother to your left or the sister to your left or to your right, the brother to your right, it says something about you. When you could go through a week and you don't think about anybody else in the body, it says something about you, right? And many of us, right, we get this idea that we're self-made. Right? We have this idea that we're self-made. Hey, I'm Tyrone. I've been Tyrone, and I'm going to come in the truth, and I'm going to walk in the truth as Tyrone. Give me 1 Corinthians 15:33, and then I'll pull up those images real quick. 1 Corinthians 15:33.
1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33. Be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners.
So you're not self-made at all, right? God made you. God is the one who put you in this truth. God is the one who woke you up. God is the one who put you around a body of believers in order for you to help them as well. Not just for you to get what you want, pull it out of the body, and then go home with it and don't share it with anybody else. The purpose of us being around each other was to help each other, but we get these ideas that we self-made. So when you say you're self-made, you're basically saying, hey, it's all about me. I did it by myself, and I don't need nobody else. Let's pull up those images. So things like this will sway you to get into a mindset where you're like, I don't need nobody. And many of us, we got pictures of ourselves on the wall in our house probably thinking, hey, I'm good by myself. I'm self-made. Pull it up. You can pull it up. I'm just talking while y'all get it ready. Right? So here's an example, right? This is an album cover. This is Self-Made 2. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Their heads look big as hell on this joint, too. It's kind of weird. So this is an album cover, you know. This is Jair's favorite artist right there, Omarion, on the right. All
No,
right?
sir. No, no.
Right, he repented, but back in the world, that was his guy. So the point is these brothers think they're self-made, right? But God made them all, right? God is the only reason they're alive and breathing. But we don't give credit to God, right? We say, I made it out the trenches. I did it by myself. I'm the one who put myself in this position. But you didn't. You didn't. Give me the other picture. So that's for the black man. Look what they got for the black woman. Self-made. So self-made is permeate here. That's what being self-made is. Self-made is taking your natural beauty away and looking like the white woman. And these are the things that they pump to us over and over again. So then we get in a mindset, we in the truth, but you self-made. You're an individual. You don't need nobody around you because this is getting pumped to you day in, day out. That's what's happening. Go back to 1 Corinthians 15:33. You could drop those.
1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33. Be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners.
Evil communication will corrupt good manners. So you'll get the understanding, hey, I'm in a body. I need to lean on my brothers and sisters. And then you'll have in your mind, hey, I'm good by myself. I don't need no help. I don't need nobody. I could do this all on my own. And that's wrong. That's something we really got to dig into and say, why do I behave like I'm not in a body? I said to brothers this Sabbath, I said, imagine if your feet was in one room tap dancing, your hands was in the kitchen washing dishes, and your head was watching TV. Huh? If you came in the house and saw that, what would you do? What would happen? What would happen?
Well, not much of anything. You'd be discombobulated.
No, not your body.
Oh.
Say it was Adonijah or somebody else. Say it was somebody else's body.
Wow, that brother done went. I don't know how he did that. That's great. I don't know. That's
You would be
crazy.
confused, right?
Yeah.
So I bring that up to say it's the same thing when you say we're a body.
Mm.
The hands can't be focused on one thing and the feet focused on another thing and the head is doing another thing. That doesn't make sense. See what I mean? That doesn't make sense. It's not the Addams family, right? Like we got to realize as a unit we move together. So if your mindset is, hey, I'm gonna do everything opposite, or I'm self-made, I could do my own thing, but I'm in the body. You're not really in the body. You know, you're like cancer. We're gonna cut you off and keep moving. That's just the reality of the situation. So our job is to move as a unit. That's why the Lord refers to us as a body. He refers to us as we, ourselves, and us. Give me James 3:13. You got something? When you grab the mic, man, you know what I'm saying? You gotta learn rules. Grab that mic. I'm like, he must have something. James 3 and verse 13.
The book of James, chapter 3 and verse 13. Who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you? Let him show out of a good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom. But if ye have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not, and lie not against the truth.
So he said, if you have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not, and lie not against the truth. Some of us got that in our mind. We got envy, and strife in our heart. Some of us like drama, like that we went through last Wednesday. Some of us just like drama. We like being in the middle of nonsense. So we got to really examine ourselves and see if that's a thing. But keep reading, watch.
This wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, devilish.
If that's your mindset, is to always be in the middle of conflict and drama, you're selfish. You're selfish. Because our job is to what? Keep unity in here. To move as a unit. How can we do that if we always arguing and fighting and there's always conflict? Go ahead.
For where envying and strife is, there is confusion.
Simple, right? Where there's drama, there's confusion. Go ahead.
And every evil work.
And every evil work. That means the devil is in the midst. Go ahead.
But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality, and without hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. And the fruit of righteousness is sown in the peace of them that make peace.
So the point is our job is to stay together as a unit. It's not to be selfish. It's not to be arguing all the time. It's not to create drama. It's to figure out how we can work together to obtain the kingdom. But many of us think me, myself, and I. So your mindset is not to do that. You come in here and you're like, I don't like the unleavened bread the sister made. I'm finna complain. I don't like what she said in that circle. I don't like what that brother said to me. So you don't look for unity. You look for issues. That's what you look for. You come in here to complain rather than realizing it's not about you. IUIC was not created to make you happy. It was created to make the Lord happy. Say it again. IUIC was not created to make you happy. It was created to make the Lord happy. Our job is to keep the commandments. But it's not to just lean towards your every whim or be at your every beck and call. Let me put it that way. We definitely serve the people, but everything's not going to be for you to be joyous. There's going to be some things that you have to learn to like because it's for the benefit of everybody else. You know? Go ahead. You got something?
No, I was going to say, look at the mindset of Christ had in Luke 2 and 49.
The book of Luke, chapter 2 and verse 49. And he said unto them, how is it that ye sought me? Wist ye not that I must be about my Father's business?
So the mindset that Christ had, he said, wist you not that I be about my Father's business? He said, I must be about that. So if we thinking, hey, well, I got this thing going on or whatever it is, if you're not constantly thinking about the Father's business, you're in the wrong mindset. That's what brings that strife, you know what I'm saying, that contention that we read, what was that? We just reading. James, what we just read. He says that's what's going to bring it because you're not focused on the business of God. You're focused more on yourself. So if you're not focused on God's business, Christ, even as a child, understood he had to be about his Father's business. That's the mindset we got to come with.
No, praises. Give me pull up the definition of selfishness. 100%. We definitely have to have that mindset and not be thinking about everything but the Bible. So look up selfish. Let's look up selfish. Doom, doom, doom. All right, read that one.
Selfish. Definition 1. Concerned excessively or exclusively with oneself.
So you're only concerned with yourself. Go ahead.
Seeking or concentrating on one's own advantage, pleasure, or well-being without regard for others.
So you focus on what you can gain, how you can be happy, your own pleasure, or your own well-being, and you don't think about the whole. What can I get out of this? I'm going to this event, right? I'm going to go to the Sabbath because this is what I get out of it. I could care less about what the other brothers and sisters might need from me. I only go to this thing that happens at the school because it benefits me. Not because, hey, this sister might be struggling, this brother might be struggling, so maybe if I show up, I can exhort them. We don't think that way. We just say, hey, man, damn, I'm tired. If I go, I'm going to have to wake up early. I'm about to lay down, man. But you don't say, man, maybe if that brother, that sister sees my face and we've been talking on the phone, maybe that'll exhort them and they'll say, you know what, I can make it another day. I can fight another day. We don't think about those type of things. We say, I'm good. You got something? Every time you grab that mic, I'm going to ask you. Go ahead.
Like when you was talking about how being a body and talking about being selfish, Judah, you know what I'm saying? We were related to sports, right? So, and you feel on a sports team, right? You know what I'm saying? A sports team, not boxing. You playing football, you playing basketball. It don't matter about, oh, you got that one good player. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, he just go get his stats up, stuff like that. But in order to win championships, a whole team got to work together, right? Someone has to sacrifice. And you playing basketball. Okay, I'm not gonna take this shot. This is a better shot. I'm gonna pass it, right? It's teamwork. You work together as a team. That's how you get to go to championship. Saying the truth. Stuff don't work out in the body and the offices because everyone's doing their own thing. There's no communication. Stuff is being overlooked because you're not working as a team. So it's the same way. Just how we do in sports. We did when we was playing football, playing basketball, becoming the truth. But now it's all about me.
Hey, and with that, it said with a sports team. So if you have the people that are starting up who are gonna who are already scheduled to actually do the first set of the plays, right? But then if the backups decide not to come, is the team gonna be able to work efficiently if the backups ain't there? They say, you know what? They don't really need me right now, so I'm not even gonna show up to the game.
People get hurt, and the truth, people might get sick. You know what I'm saying? Brothers don't go to Camp 101. You know what I'm saying? And brothers, we have some type of march. You know what I'm saying? The brothers who don't go to Camp 1 are there. Well, usually when I'm at Camp 101, I don't go to Camp 101, so I don't really know what I'm doing. But you know what I'm saying? Since these brothers ain't here and I have to come, now I'm looking crazy. Because you would back up, you don't think that you're actually part of the team. But no, we all a team. Everyone needs to learn. So when it's our time to get called upon, we can execute. We have to execute.
100%. And again, that just shows selfishness because we don't consider the fact that somebody else may need us to step in. Right? We don't think about that. We're just like, hey, man, they'll be all right. Scroll down and read definition 2.
Definition 2, arising from concern with one's own welfare or advantage and disregard of others.
So another thing that is done is you disregard others. You know they exist, but you're like, who cares? I'm not thinking about them. Right? So pull up that quote for me. Let's look at that quote. Let's look at that quote real quick. From an Edomite author, but I thought it fit very well. Read that quote.
There's 2 ways to be selfish. You can think too much about yourself, or you can think too little about others. You're selfish both ways.
Read it one more time so it sticks.
There's 2 ways to be selfish. You can think too much about yourself, or you can think too little about others. You're selfish both ways.
So that's something to really consider. A lot of us are selfish one of those 2 ways. Either we don't think about others enough, or we think about ourselves too much. You're either a narcissist, well, you're kind of a narcissist both ways, right? Right? But the point is you're not thinking about your people, ultimately. You don't care about what everybody else needs. And so that's the biggest thing we got to be able to look at is, why are we like that, right? Give me 1 John 2 and 15. 1 John 2 and 15. You could drop that.
1 John chapter 2 and verse 15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of the life is not of the Father, but is of the world.
Many of us have pride in this life and in who we are. You feel like, hey, people got to respect me when I walk in the room. Or I'm the man, or I'm the woman. I'm that girl. I'm that guy. God don't care anything about that. He's telling you the pride of this life is going to pass away. So what's going to show you worthy to the Lord is if you're doing what he said to do in this book. That's what's going to show you worthy. And he told you to care about your people. He told you not to be selfish. But this world teaches you, hey, be selfish. All you got to do is take care of yourself. As long as you got the nice car and a good job, who cares what everybody else is doing? You good money. Keep reading.
And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of God abideth forever.
So it's up to us to do the will of God. It's up to us to follow the example that Christ left for us. And Christ wasn't walking around talking about what he had versus what everybody else had. He didn't say, you know what, I'm not finna go teach them, man. I don't even feel like going. I'm tired. Yeah, this is the 5th person out here today, man. I'm tired, man. I'm good. Y'all go ahead, man. I'm cool. I'm not finna teach nobody today. I'm cool, man. Maybe tomorrow when I feel like it. Imagine if he was rolling like that. We'd all die. Imagine if he said, yeah, I don't want to go on the cross today. Matter of fact, I don't feel like raising up on the 3rd day. I'm sleepy. It's a late night. I don't feel like raising up on the third day. I raise up on the fourth day. If it was us, that's what brothers would have did because we selfish. We selfish. We wouldn't have thought about nobody else. We were like, sure, I'm going to rise anyway. Do it on the fifth day. I'm just keeping 1,000. That's with our current spirit, that's what we would have done. Go ahead.
Yeah, get Philippians 2 and 4. Philippians 2 and 4. Yeah, that's crazy.
The book of Philippians, chapter 2 and verse 4. Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others.
Because you got to think of what's on Christ's mind, right? He's about to get hung on a cross, right? And he has the power to not let that happen. But he's not thinking about himself. He's thinking about when I die on this cross, what it's going to do for everybody else, right? That's the spirit Christ had. That spirit we have to have. We all have to build to have that same spirit. He knows he's about to die. He can stop it from happening, but for our benefit, he did it. He went through it anyway.
All praises, and that's the mindset we got to get to, where we understand what we can gain selfishly, and we don't let that make the decision for us. We don't say, man, I could profit if I do this opposite thing of what God told me to do. We say, nah, that's the devil. We got to work together. I got to sacrifice myself for the people. Maybe I am tired, but I'm going to show up because I care about everybody in here. Go to 1 Corinthians 1 and 10. 1 Corinthians 1 and 10.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 1 and verse 10. Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that ye all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you, that ye be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment.
The way we get to the same mind and the same judgment is we start to care about each other. That's how you remove division. You say, you know what, man, that brother, man, the way he think, let me get with him and think about how he thinks. Let me get with this sister and think about how she thinks. And then you all start to form a common bond. You had people in the world who would finish your sentences, right? You be around them, you got inside jokes. But now you're in the truth with people, you don't got the same judgment. Somebody corrects something and you're like, why was that correction so harsh? It's because you don't have the same mind. You don't look at that the same way because you're not studying. You're not connected to the people you're around. So when they get on you, you're like, man, I'm going to stay away from this person because they correct you. But you don't realize they love you. All of these things, right, are for your benefit. But you can't see that, right? You can't see that. And one of the other things that we don't realize is the way we fall off or the way we start to lack judgment is some of us are in secret sin, right? We're dealing with different things and we're not saying anything or we don't want to come around. And so that affects everybody around us. But we're so selfish, we won't even consider that, right? Give me Joshua 7 and 1 real quick. Let's look at this. I'm definitely not going to get through all of this, but we'll see.
Joshua chapter 7 and verse 1. But the children of Israel committed a trespass, and the accursed thing, for Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabud, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah.
What tribe?
The tribe of Judah.
Jair's right here, so I got to let him know. Go ahead.
Took of the accursed thing.
Judah been selfish, but we going, you know what I'm saying? We repenting, right? We all repenting, but Judah been selfish. Keep reading.
Took of the accursed thing, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against the children of Israel.
You didn't read that Judah part of the tribe of what?
Judah.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, go to verse 16 now. So we're gonna fast forward through the story. He stole something, right? And men were dying. That's what was happening. Men were dying. And so verse 16, they're trying to figure out what's happening, right? Verse 16, let's go there, watch.
Verse 16, so Joshua rose up early in the morning and brought Israel by their tribes, and the tribe of Judah was taken.
So he brought Israel by their tribe. So the tribe of Judah is now up, right, to be examined. Go ahead.
And he brought the family of Judah, and he took the family of the Zarites.
So Zahar was probably somebody, or Zahai, right? Zarhai, and they brought him, and they brought his whole family line. That's what's happening here. Go ahead.
And he brought the family of the Zaharites, man by man, and Zabud was taken.
Go ahead.
And he brought his household man by man, and Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zadai, the son of Zerah, of the tribe
son
of Judah.
Zabdi, the son of Zerah, right? So this is his lineage. So he brought them by lineage, right? Brought them by family, then by lineage, right? The eldest man in the family, down to the man under him, down to the man under him, right? So they're being examined. Go ahead.
And Joshua said unto Achan, my son, give, I pray thee, glory to the Lord God of Israel, and make confession unto him, and tell me now what thou hast done. Hide it not from me. And Achan answered Joshua and said, indeed, I have sinned against the Lord God of Israel, and thus have I done. When I saw among the spoils a goodly Babylonian garment, and 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold of 50 shekels weight, then I coveted them, and took them, and behold, they are hid in the earth, in the midst of my tent, and the silver under it.
So people are dying. He has this, and he's not confessing it. All types of wickedness and evil and things are happening all around him, and he's like, well, shoot, I'm going to wait till they get to my tribe. Because they examined all the tribes, right? And then they got to Judah. And then they got to his different family lines. And then they got to his family line. He like, oh, dang, they finna catch me. Let me say something now. But couldn't he have talked about it prior to this point? Couldn't he have proper judgment and say, you know what, let me go holler at those brothers and tell them what's happening. Let me come forth, right? So when you read on, you see he's stoned and his whole family is stoned and then they're lit on fire, right? So the biggest point I'm making is that's selfishness. Many of us don't view what you're doing in the dark as selfishness. It affects everybody around you. It keeps us in captivity. It can have ill effects on the body, but we're selfish. So even if we had if we take ourselves out that selfish mindset, we can even start to look at our sins and the things that we battle and say, everything we battling affects everybody around me. So I have to be stronger for the men and women around me because it can affect them. It can have damaging effects to the entire nation. Let's go to Zephaniah 2:1 now. Trying to speed that up. We could have read the whole story, but for time's sake. Zephaniah 2:1.
The book of Zephaniah, Zechariah. The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. Before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the chaff, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you, before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you. Seek ye the Lord.
No, so read it again from the top. 2:1.
2:1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
So many of us have heard the scripture already, right? We know that we're a nation not desired, and we know that we need to gather together. But when we read that, we're reading it like if we're just physically in the building together, we're gathered together. How many of y'all went to church in here? Y'all went to church, right? I went to church, right? Okay. Were you gathered together? See, you still not getting it. Grab the mic. Grab the mic. Were you gathered together?
Absolutely not.
now it connected.
Yeah.
Now it connected.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah.
Click.
Yeah, click, right? You were never gathered together.
Nope.
Why not?
Because we all believe different things in there. You know what I'm saying? One person loved hooting and hollering. The other person just, was there for the food at the end.
Some of the brothers was there for the women.
Yep, some of the brothers.
Some of the sisters was there from the club. And they just was guilty. And they drove past the church and said,
might as well stop
might
today.
as well stop, yeah. I got $2. I might as well stop. You know what I mean? So that's the thing we really got to look at. You were in the church. You were gathered with people, but you weren't gathered under Christ. You didn't have the same mindset. So that's what it's referring to when it says gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. It's telling you to become a unit. Read that again.
Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
Go ahead.
Before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the chaff, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you, before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you.
So the point here is before the Lord destroys this place, we need to be unified. Unity is our superpower. Many of you don't know that. Many of you think having the Bible and reading it on your own is your superpower. I got the laws, I'm an Israelite, I'm good to go. But unity is your actual superpower. Having brothers and sisters around you that keep the commandments, you know what they say? We can't die, we don't die, we multiply. That's our superpower. You can't kill us. If Alicia has the same mindset and Jair has the same mindset and they kill me, guess what they got to deal with? Alicia and Jair. Now you got two of me. See what I'm saying? That's our superpower. But we can't see that. We're selfish. So we don't try to build the brother to the left, the sister to the left, the brother to the right, sister to the right. We think about ourselves and we keep everything to ourselves. But if we all had the same mindset, there'd be nothing they could do to stop us. It'd be impossible. That's what it means to fight against God. God create babies every day. You can't kill all the babies. Herod tried. Exactly. He couldn't kill all the babies. So if all the babies got the same mindset, what are you going to do other than get upset? You can be mad all you want, but you cannot stop this. That's what this is. This is undefeatable. You can't defeat reproduction. It's like a video game and you respawn every time. Yeah. What can you do? You can't beat me. I'm gonna jump off this cliff. I'm coming back, and I know where you at now. Start from the same point. It's a checkpoint. I'm coming back from the checkpoint, and I'm gonna get rid of you. Our job is to create the checkpoint for the next generation when they come in. But we selfish. We only think about us. So when we die, the next generation don't get nothing. Right? The next man to our right or to our left gets nothing because we're not thinking about any piece of wisdom I got, I'm going to give it to everybody around me. Give me John 12 and verse 4.
The book of John, chapter 12 and verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
Then saith one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, which should betray him. Why was not this ointment sold for 300 pence and given to the poor? Then he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief. He had the bag. And there.
So he didn't say this because he cared about anybody. He cared about the money. So some of us, we in here for selfish reasons. We care about our rank. We care about our position. Some sisters care about who they're going to marry or what position they sit in the body or being in the kitchen. Or you're a school teacher, so you're like, man, I want to be in the kids' room. That's what you care about. You want to be seen. So you make comments and you say different things to get what you want. But it's not for the betterment of the body. You don't consider everybody else. You're just like, man, I'm good at this, and I know I'm good at this, so I want to get where I want to get. And the Lord will put you there just to take you and destroy you. Because that's what Judas got. Go ahead.
Now, we see that all the time with brothers who do music, right? They in the truth for 2 minutes and like, yeah, I rap. You know what I'm saying? The brother just got his name changed 1 week. Next week, oh, yeah, follow me on SoundCloud. He's all rapping.
He got a whole album out.
A whole album. 2 of them.
He had the album cooking already. Before he was looking online. He said, oh, they got rap in there? I'm finna go in there and I'm finna become a star.
Now, he went back to his old music. You know what I'm saying? He just switched the lyrics out.
Yep, that's it. That's it.
Cooking crap. Nope. Cooking the Bible verses. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
this brother, he's wicked as hell. You know what I'm saying? He just wants to be seen.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
That's it.
Brother don't know nothing about the truth. You know what I'm saying? He just wants to be seen.
Yep.
You're not trying to get built up at all.
You go find out some of these brothers be like, man, bro, you rap? Yeah, man, yeah. What's your how long you been in body? Yeah, 6 years. What's your rank? I'm a brother.
Damn.
You need to be focused on other things.
Brother gonna have you in the car and then play his track for
you.
Brother,
man, talk about it, huh? Listen, brother, hey, I was gonna leave that alone. I wasn't gonna say nothing about it.
Listen to his rap.
I wasn't gonna say nothing. Listen,
fire, right?
It doesn't happen like 2 or 3 times to us. It doesn't happen like 2 or 3 times to me where I'm just riding with a brother and I'm listening to the radio and I'm like, okay. And the brother's talking, yeah, man. Wait a minute, is that him? Is he playing himself? Why is he playing himself? Yeah, he trying. You want me to say, man, you fire.
Yeah, he play. He play it. He don't say nothing. He just look at the corner of his eye like this.
I'm dead. About 2 or 3 times.
You like that?
It happened at men's conference. It happened in New Orleans. It happened to me about 2 or 3 times. I'm saying, at least 2 that I can definitely think of.
And you can't stay long like that because that's what you're putting your faith in. That's what your roots are in.
Mm-hmm.
So now.
And it's not to say music isn't important, right? Music is important, right, to the salvation of our people because it changes their mindset. But some brothers are using it because they want the fame.
Right.
You know, some brothers are using it because they want the fame. Like playing your music in a car, just talk to me, brother. You don't gotta bump yourself. You know what I mean? That's a little strange, bro. Yeah, bro, it's super awkward, man. I'm like, yo, is that the same? I'm hearing you twice. I'm hearing you twice.
Brother, I say you weren't, and didn't get it fast enough, so he kind of had to mention it to
Yeah,
you.
hey, I rap. I rap. Yeah, you like that? That's
Is that
me.
you? Is on the music?
Let me go ahead and rewind it back for you. Yeah, that's me. I rap.
Turn it up.
Yeah, that's me. I rap. Bruh, just ain't you supposed to be giving me a ride? The hospitality is strange right now. All right, go to Genesis 18 and 17. So our fathers didn't roll like this, right? Our fathers cared about we, ourselves, and us. That's what they focused on. They didn't focus on just, hey, how am I going to get salvation and I'm going to be good? They focused on everybody else, right? Genesis 18.
Genesis chapter 18 and verse 17. And the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do, seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord, to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him.
So if we just stop there, it'd be like Abraham's good. So if Negroes today wrote this Bible, that would be the last verse. Wouldn't talk about nothing else. Abraham was straight. Because that's our mindset. Abraham was good, so I ain't got to worry about nothing else. My household in order. I'm good to go. Keep reading. Watch.
And the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know. And the man turned their faces from thence, and went toward Sodom, but Abraham stood yet before the Lord. And Abraham drew near and said, wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked?
So he's concerned for the righteous. He's saying, you going to kill everybody? That's really the question. Lord, are you going to kill everybody? Many of us don't care that everybody in the body is going to get judged. We don't even think about, hey, man, if I let that brother continue in that sin, he could die. He's going to get judged for that. We don't have that mindset. We got a mindset to say, well, shoot, I'm not doing it. So it is what it is. That brother showed up late, so let me not say nothing to him. You know, it is what it is. But Abraham, right, he had a mindset to say, yeah, Lord, you going to kill everybody? That's how we rolling? He cared about his people. He thought about we. Keep reading.
Peradventure, there be 50 righteous within the city. Wilt thou also destroy and not spare the place of the 50 righteous that are therein? That be far from thee to be afar this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked. And that the righteous should be as the wicked that be far from thee. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? And the Lord said.
So now you're asking them questions to get the Lord to consider it. Shouldn't the Lord be righteous? Like, Lord, that ain't right. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to encourage the Lord to have mercy upon these people. That's what's happening right here. He could have said, my household is straight. Kill who you got to kill. That is a lot of our mindset. Kill who you got to kill, Lord. I don't care if it's the brother next to me. I'm doing what I got to do. And that's the wrong mindset to have. We got to be able to look at our forefathers and see they cared about everybody around them. Keep going.
And the Lord said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes.
So if he found 50 righteous, he's gonna spare those. Go ahead.
And Abraham answered and said, behold, now I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord, which am but dust and ashes.
He knew he was dust and ashes, so he was like, man, Lord, if you listening to me, listen to this. Go ahead.
Peradventure, there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous. Wilt thou destroy all the city for lack of 5?
So he said, what if there's 45, right? What if there's 45 people that's righteous? Because you said 50, Lord. So if there's 45, you're going to kill those 45 because there wasn't 50? Go ahead.
And he said, if I find there 40 and 5, I will not destroy it.
Go ahead.
And he spake unto him yet again and said, peradventure, there should be 40 found there. And he said, I will not do it for 40's sake. And he said unto him, O let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak. Peradventure, there should be 30 be found there. And he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. And he said, behold, now I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord. Peradventure, there should be 20 found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 20's sake. And he said, "Oh, let the Lord be angry, or let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak yet, but this once, peradventure, 10 shall be found there." And he said, "I will not destroy it for 10's sake." And the Lord went his way as soon as he had left communing with Abraham. And Abraham returned into his place.
So the point here is he kept asking because he didn't want anybody to die. He could have stopped at 50. He could have stopped at 45. He could have stopped at 40. He could have stopped at 20. He said, I don't want anybody to die. As many righteous that exist, I want them to be saved. That is my responsibility to them as their brother, as their forefathers, to make sure that they just don't get put to death. I know I'm dust and ashes, Lord, but I'm looking out for them. And that's the spirit that the Lord deals with. Go to Deuteronomy 9 and 11 now. Let's look at Moses. Let's see if he was different. Let's see if Moses was focused on me, myself, and I.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 9 and verse 11. And it came to pass at the end of 40 days and 40 nights that the Lord gave me the 2 tables of stone, even the tables of the covenant. And the Lord said unto me, Arise, get thee down quickly from hence. For thy people which thou hast brought forth out of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They are quickly turned aside out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten image. Furthermore, the Lord spake unto me, saying, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people.
So the Lord said, I seen this people. They wicked. You know, they're stiff-necked. They're stubborn. They don't listen to nothing that I tell them to do. Go ahead.
Let me alone, that I may destroy them, and blot out their name from under heaven. And I will make of thee a nation mightier and greater than they.
So let's pause there, because if the Negro wrote it, that was it. That's the last verse. He would have said, Lord, you're going to kill everybody and make a nation out of me? Shoot. Man, the Jedielites sound all right. I'm telling you, that's how we think, because this world has indoctrinated us to be selfish. So if you were told with the mind you have now, hey, the Lord is going to make the nation out of you, you would have just said, all right, they wicked as hell, kill them. But Moses' spirit was different. Let's see what Moses said. Keep reading.
So I turned and came down from the mount, and the mount burned with fire, and the 2 tables of the covenant were in my 2 hands. And I looked, and behold, ye had sinned against the Lord your God, and had made you a molten calf. Ye have turned aside quickly out of the way which the Lord had commanded you. And I took the 2 tables and cast them out of my 2 hands, and broke them before your eyes. And I fell down before the Lord, as at the first 40 days and 40 nights. I did neither eat bread nor drink water, because of all your sins which ye sinned, and doing wickedly in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger.
So he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights for the children of Israel, so that they wouldn't die. So that they wouldn't die. He didn't do anything wrong. He could have easily said, I'm good. I don't got to worry about y'all. But he was worried about we, ourselves and us. So he said, let me take care of everybody else. So I'm not going to eat bread or drink water for 40 days so that the Lord has mercy on these people who deserve to die. Keep reading.
For I was afraid of the anger and hot displeasure, wherewith the Lord was wroth against you to destroy you. But the Lord hearkened unto me at that time also. And the Lord was very angry with Aaron to have destroyed him. And I prayed for Aaron also the same time. And I took your sin, the calf which he had made, and burnt it with fire, and stamped it, and ground it very small, even until it was as small as dust. And I cast the dust thereof into the brook that descended out of the mount. And at Taberah, and at Messiah, and at
Kibroth Hattava.
Kibroth Hattava, ye provoked the Lord to wrath. Likewise, when the Lord sent you from Kadesh Barnea, saying, Go up to the possessions of the land which I have given you, then ye rebelled against the commandment of the Lord your God, and ye believed him not, nor hearkened to his voice. Ye have been rebellious against the Lord from the day that I knew you. Thus I fell down before the Lord 40 days and 40 nights, as I fell down at the first, because the Lord has said he would destroy you.
So he fasts again. You got to understand, Moses was sacrificing himself, his pleasures and his desires to make sure the Lord didn't kill Israel. We got to understand that. Many of us would not do that. Many of us would say, man, shoot, they tripping at this point. I'm hungry. I got other things I'm worried about, man. I need some water. Lord, go ahead and kill them at this point because they keep rebelling against you. Despite you having mercy, despite you want to destroy all of them, they continue to do the same thing over and over again. So why should I sacrifice myself? This is how we think. But the forefathers are showing us an example of being long-suffering and dealing with our people and having mercy and thinking about them and their benefit. Go ahead.
No, as leaders, we do that. A lot of us do that, like over in office, right? You see one or two brothers that's, you know what I'm saying, they're not really pushing and stuff like that. Rather than try to be a leader and build them up, we're like, okay, get rid of them. You know what I'm saying? No, we can't use this brother. Oh, talk bad about him, even though you was once that brother. You was once that lazy brother. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to build you up to where you are now. But you can't show that same mercy that brother had for you. And so you just gonna get rid of brothers and stuff like that. So as leaders, we gotta take account of that.
100%. And when I'm writing this, it's cutting me as well, right? Because it's something for us to really think about. We gotta deal with our people differently. We can't have a mindset of, hey, I'm just gonna get it done and they not getting it done. There's a reason you were put in a position as to be a leader, right? For this example you given. It's so that you can have mercy and patience and deal with your people. It's for your benefit too. Because you may not have none. So the goal is for you to have that and deal with your people and build them up over time. Not for you to just say, hey, I'm good. Right? Go ahead.
Go to Galatians 6 and 9. Yes, sir.
The book of Galatians, chapter 6 and verse 9. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, and we faint if we faint not.
Right, so like back to the example of Moses. Moses, he did a lot of stuff for our people. He made sure that we weren't going off, you know what I'm saying? He was battling with us year after year for 40 years in the wilderness. He didn't get weary in those well-doing. Same thing with us here. We might do stuff for the body, we might do a lot, but we can't get weary in that thing, okay, well, I've been doing it for X amount of years, now I can take a break. No, the Lord said, read it one more time.
And let us not be weary in well-doing.
Don't get weary. Don't think, oh, my goodness, I've been doing a lot for X amount of time. This time for me to take a break. He said, don't get weary. Go ahead.
For in due season, we shall reap if we faint not.
If we don't faint. So if you faint, you taking a break, you're going to sleep. You're not going to get that reap that due season. You're not going to get it because you decided to faint. You know what I'm saying? That Moses didn't do that. You know, at the example that you gave, Moses didn't do that thing.
And the thing to really consider is, what did the Lord say about our righteousness? He said it's unprofitable.
Right.
Right? We're unprofitable servants. It's filthy rags. So it's you that's selfish that view it as something of status or esteem. The Lord, like, this is dirty rags.
So you want to read that one real quick. Was you going to get
No, go ahead.
Luke 14? You know what I'm talking about?
You can read it. The Lord said it's filthy rags that we doing. So something to really think about. You got it?
14 and 17, right?
You'll find it.
Yes, it's in the Bible.
It's in the Bible. Oh, man. Oh, man. I think it's like 14.
Oh, yeah, I think it's 14.
You found it? All right.
17.
17:10.
Okay.
All right, read that.
Dang.
He was off. But we care about our brothers, so we looked it up for him. Go ahead.
I had a rock and I threw it somewhere around there.
Luke chapter 17 and verse 10. So likewise ye, when ye shall have done all those things which are commanded you.
Say, once we do all the things that God commanded us, once we, you know what I'm saying, keep the Sabbaths, the high holy days, correcting our brother, dealing with, issues day and night, dealing with our own issues, all these things, go ahead.
Say, we are unprofitable servants.
We unprofitable. You still read it?
We are unprofitable servants.
Mm-hmm.
We have done that which was our duty to do.
We only did our job. We didn't do anything extra. We didn't do overtime for God. There's no overtime. All we did was our job. You know what I'm saying? So just be happy with putting in the work and don't get weary in that thing.
You're supposed to be dead.
Dang.
That's the reality. You're supposed to be dead. So the fact that you get an opportunity to do your job, you should be thankful. But again, we self-centered. So we start putting in work and we be like, man, I'm working hard. These brothers ain't working hard.
You see my sweat?
Yeah, you see it? You see it?
Look at that. Look at that.
You see it? I'm grinding. The Lord up there like, man, that brother was wicked as hell. He got 17 baby mamas, you know what I'm saying? And only one kept the kid, or two of them, you know what I'm saying? And you sitting there like, man, I'm putting in work. You like, your angel, like, he got a lot to make up for. But we don't think this way. We think, hey, I'm here and I'm grinding, so therefore everybody else got to grind. We self-centered. We selfish. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what Bishop said, he said you had X amount of years in the world, so now you gotta think, hey, I gotta get all those years back before you really even starting.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You in the negative.
Yep, exactly. Your bank account is overdrafted, and they charging you every day $33. Every day is overdrafted. Somebody is on Facebook like, man, I'm going through that right now.
Dang.
You know what I'm saying?
It's all right, brother.
It's all right. You know what I'm saying?
Wrong.
But that's what we dealing with when it comes to the Lord, right? Give me First Maccabees 14:4. First Maccabees 14:4.
First Maccabees chapter 14 and verse 4. Sorry. As for the land, that's right, yeah. As for the land of Judea, that was quiet all the days of Simon, for he sought the good of his nation in such wise, as that evermore his authority and honor pleased them well.
So he looked for the good of his entire nation. That's what he was worried about as a leader. He said, let me look out for the good of my nation. Go ahead.
And as he was honorable in all his acts, so in this, that he took Joppa for in heaven, and made an entrance to the isle of the sea, and enlarged the bounds of his nation, and recovered the country, and gathered together a great number of captives, and had a dominion of Gaza, and Bethsheria, and the tower out of the which he took all uncleanness. Neither was there any that resisted him. Then did they till the ground in peace, and the earth gave her increase, and the trees of the field their fruit. The ancient men sat all in the streets.
So the ancient men were able to hang out in the streets. Go ahead.
Communing together of good things. And the young men put on glorious and warlike apparel.
So the young men were able to put on glorious and warlike apparel. Go ahead.
He provided victuals.
Victuals. I know it got a C in it, but it's victuals.
Victuals for the cities, and set in them all manner of mutation, so that his honorable name was renowned unto the end of the world. He made peace in the land, and Israel rejoiced with great joy. For every man sat under his vine and his fig tree, and there was none to fray them, neither was there any left in the land to fight against them. Yea, the kings themselves were overthrown in those days. Moreover, he strengthened all those of his people that were brought low.
So he helped his people. He strengthened his people as a leader. Go ahead.
The law he searched out, and every container of the law and wicked person he took away.
He took evil people out. Go ahead.
He beautified the sanctuary and multiplied the vessels of the temple. Now when it was heard at Rome, and as far as Sparta, that Jonathan was dead, they were very sorrow.
They were sad because of the work he did for his people. That's the point. He was focused on everybody but himself. When you read this, there was many things he did in here that was for the benefit of his people. Remember, he's the ruler. He could have said, man, I'm good. I'm chilling. I'm ruling. That would have been it. For some of us, that would have been it. And such ruled. That's it. No benefit for the people. No love from the people, because he wasn't focused on serving them. And you could read this and see he was trying to serve them. He was trying to do everything to make it peaceful. He had the old men in the streets. The young men had certain garments. He had victuals, right, for people to partake in. He strengthened all the people that were brought low. He removed the wicked people so that our nation would thrive. And that's what we got to be thinking about. Each one of us is responsible for how we do as an entire nation, whether you're in a leadership position or not. And our mindset has to be like this. Give me 2 Corinthians 2 now. And these are just examples, right? I keep reading these examples because I want us to really think about how all these different people had the same mindset to think about everyone but themselves. You're not reading these stories and it was like, and Simon did this for himself. And Simon wore this garment for himself. And Simon came to the Sabbath for himself. And he was in this office for himself. You don't read that. It's always making reference to how he dealt with his people. So 2 Corinthians 2 and 1.
2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
But I determined this with myself, that I would not come again to you in heaviness. For if I make you sorry, who is he then that maketh me glad?
So Paul is talking to the people of Corinth. He's saying, if I make you all sorry, who's going to make me glad? Meaning he's considering them as he's writing this letter. Saying, I don't want to just break y'all down all the time. Because somebody got to build me back up. We here for each other is his point. Go ahead.
But the same which is made sorry by me. And I wrote this same unto you, lest when I came, I should have sorrow from them of whom I ought to rejoice, having confidence in you all, that my joy is the joy of you all. For out of much affliction and anguish of heart I wrote unto you, with many tears, not that ye should be grieved, but that ye may know the love which I have, more abundantly unto you.
He had love for the people in Corinth. He corrected them, he blasted them, but he loved them. He cared about them. That's why he gave that passion to them. Go ahead.
But if any have caused grief, he have not grieved me, but in part, that I may not overcharge you all. Sufficient to such a man is the punishment which was inflicted of many, so that contrariwise, ye ought rather to forgive him and comfort him, lest perhaps such a one should be swallowed up with overmuch sorrow.
He's saying somebody was corrected, right? And he's telling them to have mercy, to forgive that person, because if you have too much correction on that person, it'll cause them to go off. It'll cause them to be in constant sorrow. If you read in 1 Corinthians, brother was doing all types of wickedness, right? He's a fornicator, so he's put out. But I don't want to go down the rabbit hole. Keep going.
Wherefore I beseech you that ye would confirm your love toward him.
Mm-hmm.
For to this end also did I write, that I might know the proof of you, whether ye be obedient in all things. To whom ye forgive anything, I forgive also. For if I forgave anything to whom I forgave it, for your sakes forgave I it in the person of Christ.
So he said in the person or in the sight of Christ, right? He forgave it because of this. Read the next part.
Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices.
So correction is necessary, but forgiveness is necessary too. And if we can't forgive each other, then the devil will use that to break us apart, to create division. So he's saying, I love y'all, I correct y'all, I get on y'all, but we got to also forgive each other. This was his mindset. He was always worried about the we. Despite him being rough and rude in speech, he was worried about the we. He was worried about, how do I keep this unit together? And the way I keep it together is I correct you, but then I have mercy and I forgive you. Go to Matthew 20 now. Matthew 20 and 20.
Matthew chapter 20 and verse 20. Then came to him the mother of Zebedee's children with her sons, worshiping him, and discerning a certain thing of him. And he said unto her,
desiring a certain thing of him.
And desiring a certain thing of him. And he said unto her, what wilt thou? She saith unto him, grant that these my two sons may sit, the one on thy right hand and the other on the left, in thy kingdom.
So their mother comes to Christ and says, let them sit on your left and your right in the kingdom. Go ahead.
But Jesus answered and said, ye know not what ye ask. Are ye able to drink of the cup that I shall drink of, and to be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with? They say unto him, we are able.
So they said, we're able to deal with that. But they were looking at it for their own purposes. I want to be in charge. I want to be in a rulership position. I want to be seen. So he said, are you able to deal with everything that comes with being in this position? And they said, we're able, right? Go ahead.
And he said unto them, ye shall drink indeed of my cup, and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with. But to sit on the right hand and on my left is not mine to give, but it shall be given to them of whom it is prepared of my Father. And when the 10 heard it, they were moved with indignation against the two brethren.
So now when they heard these two were going to be drink of that cup and get a certain level of power, the other 10 got frustrated. Why they get power? How come they get a rulership position? They started arguing about who was in what place because they weren't unified yet. Keep reading, watch.
But Jesus called them unto him and said, Ye know that the prince of the Gentiles exercise dominion over them, and they that are great exercise authority upon them.
So when you think of the world, people that are over you, their mindset is to exercise dominion, to be rough, to use force, to basically beat you into submission. That's the mindset. If I'm over everybody, then I'm in a leadership position. I can tell everybody what to do. I don't have to think about everybody. I don't have to care about everybody. I'm just over them. Go ahead.
But it shall not be so among you. But whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister.
So whoever is great among those 12 was to be the minister, was to take care of everybody. That's how the Lord looks at greatness. We read earlier, the ways of this world are passing away. This world tells you being on top is the greatest position you can be in. But we understand through the Bible that being a servant to everyone is the best position you could be in. So how many of us are going to stop thinking about ourselves? That's the thing we really got to consider. Go ahead.
Verse 27, and whosoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant. Even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister, and to give his life a ransom for many.
So the Lord came to show us that example of what being the greatest minister is. He took away all our sins. So now our responsibility is to help each other, to look out for each other, to make sure that everyone around us is staying out of sin. That's our light responsibility. No one's asking you to get put to death, at least now, right now, today. You know, it's going to come at some point. But that's where our minds got to be. Our minds got to be on, let me care about everybody else around me, rather than just focusing on myself. Because many of us are in this thing, and our main intent is just, hey, what can I get out of it? The mindset should be, what can we get out of it? So knowing this, right, we got to start to think about looking out for each other. Give me Ephesians 4:3. Ephesians 4:3. There's power in unity. There's power in unity. So being in this truth is, again, there's a selfish part to it, but the majority of this thing got to be selflessness. As you start to grow and you start to get your ish together, less of your time is for you and more of your time is for how can I help the brothers and sisters around me? That's what has to happen. Ephesians 4:3.
The book of Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 3. Endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace.
So to endeavor means to do it with labor, right? You have to, it's painstaking. It means you putting all your effort behind keeping things together. So when you say you're endeavoring to keep the unity, one little small argument or getting corrected ain't going to make you say, you know what, I'm done. It's not going to make you say that. You're going to say, you know what, I'm fighting to keep unity with these brothers and sisters because I understand it's not just about me. For brothers and sisters that leave because they can't apply Matthew 18, guess what? You was never really in this thing. You was never really in this thing. You was always in it for yourself. But the brothers and sisters that can apply that and say, you know what, we're going to fix this problem, we're going to move forward. Yeah, we argue, but we're going to move forward. It shows a different spirit on you. It shows that in the kingdom, you're going to be able to stand together with your people. It shows that you have a mindset of nationhood. But many of us don't have that. So let's pull up that Malcolm X video real quick. See what he said about unity. It's about a minute long. All right, go ahead, hit play.
I think you'll find, sir, that there will come a time when black people wake up and become intellectually independent enough to think for themselves, as other humans are intellectually independent enough to think for themselves. Then the black man will think like a black man, and he will feel for other black people. And this new thinking and feeling will cause black people to stick together. And then at that point, you'll have a situation where when you attack one black man, you are attacking all black men. And this type of black thinking will cause all black people to stick together. And this type of thinking also will bring an end to the brutality inflicted upon black people by white people. And it is the only thing that will bring an end to it. No federal court, state court, or city court will bring an end to it. It's something that the black man has to bring an end to himself.
All right, give me 1 Corinthians 12. Let's start at 14.
I think
So Malcolm X's point, right, he was making reference to black people. Obviously, we know we're the Israelites and we're not black, right? But the point is, in order for us to get to a point of progress, we have to care about each other. You mess with one of us, you mess with us all. That has to be our mindset. Brothers that went to St. Louis understand that, right? That was what we were marching saying. You touch one, you touch us all. But the sisters have to be on that level. The children have to be on that level. And if everybody's not rolling that way, we're not going to get out this thing together. 1 Corinthians 12 and verse 14.
1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 14. For the body is not one member, but many. If the foot shall say, because I am not the hand, I am not of the body, is it thereof, therefore, not the body? And if the ear shall say, because I am not the eye, I am not of the body, is it therefore not the body? If the whole body were an eye, where were the hearing?
So if everybody did the same thing, where would we get the other things from that we need in the body? That's what we got to think about. Everybody brings something to the table. You need to hear just as bad as you need to see. Go ahead.
If the whole were hearing, where would the smelling?
We need to smell as well. How you going to know it's a fire if you just got ears and eyes? You finna hear the fire, maybe. Maybe you hear it crackling. Maybe you see it. But if you don't, it's over for you. You burnt. So each one of us has a purpose. Go ahead.
But now have God set the members, every one of them, in the body, as it hath pleased him.
So each one of us is in the body as it pleased the Lord. That's something for us to really think about. I know sometimes we get frustrated with each other, or we say, man, this person's not putting in their work, or this person need to get right. The Lord put the members in the body as it pleased him. So in the nation, the Lord put everybody in there as it pleased him, and he put everybody in individual schools as it pleased him. So that sister or that brother that you sit next to, you where you got a grudge against or whatever, the Lord put them there, and the Lord wants it that way. It's up to you to endeavor to keep the unity. It's up to you to look at that person and say, you know what, this person's valuable. Even though they don't do what I do, or maybe they don't got the same mindset exactly as I have, there's a reason that they're in here, and we got to work together to get up out of here. One day that person may be the one person who keep you from leaving or from going into sin or just dealing with something. Maybe they'll be your place of mercy or comfort. So we got to really think about that, right? We got to consider that fact. Read that verse 19 now.
Verse 19. And if they were all one member, where were the body?
So if they were all one member, then where would the body be? Where would that division of parts and responsibilities be? If everybody was exactly the same and did exactly the same thing. So I know I said we got to get on the same mindset, but even in that, people bring different gifts to the table. That's the point you got to be able to see. So we all got to think the same. We all got to understand, hey, man, if this person's out the body, let's not deal with them. Hey, if this person is in sin, we got to correct them. We got to understand those basic things. But then individually, hey, you bring something to the table. Man, this brother right here, he knows plumbing. Right? That sister right there can sew. Man, this one can make garments, and this one can help fix the school. Let's support that brother. Hey, man, you just need me to hold this in place? Okay, I got you. Sister, what you need? You need us to go get you, thread, needles, a sewing machine so that you can make clothes for everybody? We all are bringing something to the table to survive in these last days. And our job is to look at each other and view ourselves that way, right? Jump up to verse 24.
Verse 24.
23.
23. And those members of the body which were think to be less honorable, upon these were bestowed more abundant honor. And our uncomely parts have more abundant comeliness.
So those parts of the body that we don't view as valuable, we got to give them more honor. That's what we got to do. We got to look at the brothers and sisters who may not be coming or who may be in a place where they're weak or not showing up. And we got to call them more. We got to check on them more. If we cared about that's what we would do. We would make, if you got a weak left arm and you got a strong right arm and you go into the gym, what do? I'm asking you, what do?
You work out the weaker one too, so it can get built up to the other side.
That's the point. So it's telling you we have to care for each other in that way. We can't just be like, man, I'm just going to have a weak left arm. No, you work on that left arm until it gets to the point where the right arm is, and we move together as a unit. That's our responsibility as members of the body, is to take care of each other and build everybody up. Keep going, watch.
For our comely parts have no need, but God hath tempered the body together, having given more abundant honor to that part which lacked.
Go ahead.
That there should be no schism in the body.
So he's telling you, if you do this, there won't be division in the body. If you focus on those people who need you more, those members of the body who need your support more, there won't be division in the body. Go ahead.
But that the members should have the same care for one another.
Go ahead.
And whether one member suffer,
if one of us suffers, like Malcolm X said, go ahead.
All of the members suffer with it.
Everybody suffers. That should be our mindset. But many of us don't even stay after the Sabbath to see who's suffering. We don't even know who's suffering in here because we don't care. We don't ask anybody that question. Hey, what you going through? How's everything? You good? We just say shalom. We watch the Sabbath class and we leave. It's because we selfish. Keep reading.
Or one member be honored, all the members rejoice with it.
But if one of us has honor, we're all to rejoice with that member. So we fail as a team, we win as a team. So that makes sense. Give me Ephesians 4:11.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 4 and verse 11. And he gave some apostles, and some prophets, and some evangelists, and some pastors and teachers, for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ, till we all come in the unity of the faith.
So the point is all these different roles and responsibilities were given for the edifying of the body, till we all come in the unity of the faith. Go ahead.
And of the knowledge of the Son of God, unto a perfect man, unto the measures of the stature of the fullness of Christ.
So each one of us was put in the body in order to get us to a point of perfection. That's why the Lord is happy with what he set up. Every member there is to make you perfect. But our job is to look at each other and view each other as that. View each other as, hey, man, this brother's actually going to help me out. This sister has something to offer me. There's something in that brother that I need to take, and there's something that I need to give that brother as well. Every single member of the body. That's why the Lord set it up. You wouldn't have a heart if you didn't need it in your body. So for that reason, the Lord puts people that are hearts in the body. He puts ears in the body. He puts toes in the body. And your job is to see the purpose and the importance in every single member of that body so that you can learn and take what you need and give what you need unto that member of the body. That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. Go to Sirach 33 and 27. You had something?
Yeah, I was going to go somewhere.
Go ahead.
Go to Nehemiah 2 and 10.
The book of Nehemiah, chapter 2 and verse 2.
Verse 10.
Verse 10. When Sanballat, the Horonite, and Tobiah, the servant of the Ammonite, heard of it, it grieved them exceedingly that there was come a man to seek the welfare of the children of Israel.
Right, because the enemy see that. They know that that's the most powerful thing when we have brothers who's going to seek the welfare of our people. When we actually look at our brothers and say, man, what's wrong with them? How can I help them? The people out there that know that thing is powerful. That's why it grieved them when they heard, man, they're going to seek the welfare of what's going on with their people. Well, that's what Malcolm X was talking about. He said, once we start looking at each other saying, man, how can I better this brother? How can I look after him? You know, when we stop thinking selfishly, then that grieves the enemy, and they know that because they know that thing is powerful. That's it.
They understand there's more benefit to a nation when they thinking we, ourselves, and us versus me, myself, and I. Right. Me, myself, and I benefits them. Because you ain't even got a mind to say, you know what? That brother right next door to me got the same thing I'm about to go buy. They like, oh, they stupid. I'm finna sell 3 of them. But if we, ourselves, and us, we'd say, you know what, man, Jair got one of those. I could just borrow it from Jair. That's what Tabernacles teaches you. You forget stuff at home, and then you say, you know what? Man, let me ask my brother if I could borrow his broom. He got a broom. I'm going to borrow his broom. He got a grill. I didn't buy no grill. Let me use his grill. We do it during Tabernacles, and then we leave, and we like, oh, no, me, myself, and I again. We forget. We forget that fast. But the point of it is to show us we got to work together. That's how we're going to get up out of here. Go to 1 John 4 and 20. Drop that Sirach. 1 John 4 and 20.
The book of 1 John, chapter 4 and verse 20. If a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he have not seen?
So we got to really think about this, right? Christ also went to this. Give me Matthew 25 and 31. The way we deal with each other, the way we practice we, ourselves, and us, is going to show the Lord how much we love him. That's what it's going to do. We're going to see, watch, Matthew 25 and verse 31.
Matthew chapter 25 and verse 31. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. And before him shall he be gathered all nations. And he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left.
Go ahead.
Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was an hungered, and ye have given me meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me in. Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and you came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee a hungered, and fed thee, or thirsty, and gave thee drink? When saw thee a stranger, and took thee in, or naked, and clothed thee? Or when thee sick, or in prison, and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, you have done it unto me.
So the point there is everything that you are doing to each other is like you're doing it unto Christ. So this is on the positive side. Let's read the negative side. So when you don't care about how your brother or your sister's doing, when you don't care about them being sick, when you say, you know what, it's only about me, what happens? Because this is showing someone who cares about their nation, who takes care of everybody around them. But let's see if you're that brother who's selfish or that sister who's selfish. Read.
Verse 41. Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was an hungered, and ye gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me not in. Naked, and ye clothed me not. Sick, and in prison, and ye visited me not. Then shall they also answer him, saying, Lord, when ye an hungered, or art athirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye did it not to one of the least of these, ye did it not to me.
Go ahead.
And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal.
So now go back to 1 John 4 and 20, right? We can see everything we do to each other in here is being evaluated. And the people that take care of each other, they're going to get the kingdom. The people that do not, that don't take each other in, that don't feed each other, that don't give each other drink, that don't clothe each other, they're going into judgment, eternal fire. The people that care for each other, eternal life. Read that.
1 John chapter 4 and verse 20. If a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother, whom hath he seen? How can he love God, whom he have not seen?
So if you don't take care of each other, you don't love God. And that's how you'll be judged. You'll be held accountable, right? At the end of the day, for how you deal with we, ourselves, and us. So this is not just about you. It's not just about your own emotions or what you got going on. It's about everybody around you and how well you take care of them as well. How you sacrifice your time or your energy or your resources to take care of the body. That's what this thing is about. You're going to be evaluated based on that. You can't just show up to the Sabbath, do your offices, and think you're going to get the kingdom of heaven. That's not how it works. So we got to continue to learn how to work together, right? Let's go back to Zephaniah 2 and 1 real quick. Zephaniah 2 and 1. We're going to wrap it up in a second. Zephaniah 2 and 1.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired, before the decree bring forth.
So before the decree is brought forth, there's certain things that are going to happen. Give me 2nd Ezra 16 and 18. There's things that are going to happen in the earth before the decree gets brought forth, before the Lord returns is what it's saying.
2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 18.
So the point is before we get to that point, we have to gather together. Before these things come to fruition, we have to gather together. And while these things are coming to fruition that we're about to read, we have to be working together. And come together, again, is not just being here physically, it's being on the same mentality. Working together and having the same mindset about how we should move in these situations. That's what every Sabbath class is for. That's what these daily bread classes are for. Every time you get a chance for leadership to teach you the Bible, and so that we can be connected on the same mindset so we know how to move when these things start to happen. 2nd Ezra 16 and verse 18.
2nd Ezra chapter 16 verse 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils.
Of evils. That's what's going to happen. Go ahead.
What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges from abundant
for amendment.
Go ahead. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness.
So all these things are going to happen, and there's still going to be people who will not repent. But you all that are in here need to stand together while this is happening, because some of you all will fall away if you're not connected. You're going to say, you know what, dang, they killing people. Man, I can't afford food the same way, and I don't like none of them brothers and sisters. I don't got no good relationship, so I'm not about to ask nobody for food. I'm finna go back and start robbing. These are the things that are going to start to happen because you're not connected to nobody, because you're selfish. You think, hey, I got it together, so I'm going to be all right. When somebody comes in your house and takes everything out of your house and you have no relationships in the body, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You don't like nobody in the body. You argue with every single person in the body and you leave the Sabbath early. What are you going to do when things really start to crack off? You're going to be on your own. And that's not what we want for anybody. We got to really have a mindset of unity. That's the only thing that's going to get us out of this. Keep reading. Watch.
Nor be away mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy.
So this is what's going to happen in these last days. There's going to be famine. There's going to be people getting destroyed by the sword. All of this is going to happen in these last days. Our mentality has to be, who am I going to gather with? Because if you're by yourself, go back to Zephaniah 2 and 1 more time. If your mentality is to be by yourself, you're not going to make it. Zephaniah 2 and 1 is not explaining everything that's going to happen before the point you gather together. It's just telling you, before the decree brings forth, you need to gather together. Watch, let's read it.
Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired, before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the chaff, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you.
So before these things happen, before destruction comes, we need to gather together. Give me Matthew 24 and verse 6.
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows.
All these things that you just read about, that's the start of it. So when he says gather together before the decree brings forth, all these things are going to be happening before the decree brings forth. So he said, in order to survive these things, you must gather yourselves together. Have the same mindset as your brothers and sisters so you have help. Keep reading.
Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake.
We are going to be persecuted in the earth. If you have no relationships, whose house you going to run to? Who's going to help save you if everybody you around you piss off? You only see them at the Sabbath. You're not running to nobody's house. You're going to be on your own. This is the time now to gather together and have the right mindset. to work together, to have that idea to work together. Go ahead.
Verse 10. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another.
But some of you all are still going to be selfish in these last days. You're going to be the ones that hate each other, right? That hate one another, that are offended, right? That betray one another, because you never got to a point where you found we, ourselves, and us more important than me, myself, and I. So you're going to save yourself. You're not going to save the nation. Go ahead.
And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
Many of you are going to be caught up in sin, and you're not going to love your nation. And you're going to betray them. You're going to say, you know what, I got my own interests that I have to look out for. And as a result of that, you're going to be the person who ends up with the hellfire. So the best thing we can do for ourselves is to get on the same page. Gather together before that decree brings forth. Because at the end of the last days, it's going to be up to those that are gathered together to keep each other in the faith. Keep each other in the spirit. Give me Zephaniah 2:1 one last time, and we'll end it there.
Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired, before the decree bring forth.
So gathering together means having the same mindset, thinking about we, ourselves, and us. Not me, myself, and I. Thinking about how we can be united in the same mindset and support each other before what? Verse 2?
Before the decree bring forth.
Before that day of judgment comes, we need to be gathered together. All of us will be judged on how we dealt with each other. You don't deal with each other properly, you're going to be judged based upon that. Go ahead.
Before the day pass as the chaff, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you, before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you. Seek ye the Lord.
That's it. That's verse 2, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So with that, I say shalom, Officer Jadiel.
Officer Alicia.
Officer Jair.
All right. Shalom, y'all. Have a good day, man. Keep the commandments and take care of each other. Most High in Christ bless.
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road. Purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.